talk about a phenomenon that no one seems to be talking about right now, and that is um, it has to pertain with racism in the United States against black men, because there is a difference between racism with just to say black people, in particular black men. Sometimes you know we talk about racism, what they show a lot of times they separate the races and they'll focus on how black women are getting ahead in jobs and this and that, and try to sideline the real facts of what's going on. And in particular, I would like to talk about an issue that has to do with um, the U.S. government, the courts, um, using criminals that they are released to, you know, release them into the public to stir trouble, to cause problems, and to help them incarcerate other black men, mostly men who would never be in trouble, you know, or find themselves in a situation, and how they go to look for black men with no criminal records to get them, in the system. Because right now, the prisons are private, so everything's about profit. So the United States government right now is using black on black crime, you know, to profit themselves, to gain profit. Um, so they use black on black crime just like slavery times. There's no difference right now. Slavery wasn't. Yes, it was racist, but it was a business. The same way today, the courts in the United States court, the federal courts, and are a business. The civil courts, a lot of times they're going after black men. And I remember, even at the early age of 16, when I used to work and buy my bike. I remember I saved up money to buy a bike. And at that age, the police officers, they're watching the black boys, 16 and up, that they crave. It's almost like they crave for them. I remember how they used to harass me at the age of 16, and I wasn't a person that I wasn't into no drugs or anything. And I would ride my bike, and I remember times where they would just grab me, cops, for no reason, just grab me saying I stole the bike and this and that, without any proof. And they wouldn't tell you, the way they would approach you was very disrespectful. And all this was purposely done to make you defensive, to make you feel like you're not part of the system, to make you feel like you're on the other side. You're the real enemy, to make you feel. I remember when I used to go to Atlantic City to visit my father. At the age of 16, 17, I get off the bus, and the feds would come pat me down, or people who are, ununiformed police officers pat you down, make a big scene, embarrass you for no reason. See if you have drugs on you and all this stuff. Just for the color of your skin. And these issues are still going on. I remember recently, a few years ago, I was in Texas on the bus, and the bus driver is going up and out. They would get on the bus, go up the aisle looking for people. See, the black people pull them off the bus because in the area where I was, it was mostly Hispanic people. So if they see you and you're black, they pull you off the bus, make a big scene, try to search you. So the same racism that I saw when I was 16 is still happening, and no one's talking about this. So in particular, the focus on this issue of incarcerating black men with no criminal history and how they use criminals who I know who they know are toxic, criminally toxic, that are, you know, they let them out on the streets on bond, you know, and uh, what, you know, brought this to my attention, you know, early on was there was a guy who came up to me who, you know, asked me for some money, and you know, I give him money, and then I would see him every, you know, because where I was going, I would think I was going to this class, so I was taking the subway a lot, and I would see him all the time. So he would come up to me. You know, the second time he came up to me, you know, I didn't give him money, so he was like, "I should stab you or something." And then, you know, and I'm like, "What?" You know, and I'm like, you get real tense when someone says something like that. You know, so you don't really know how to handle yourself, but you know, then I started reflecting on how these guys, like I see him all the time, he's doing all kinds of craziness, and he's never locked up. And there's a reason why he's never locked up, because he's not extremely bad where he just killed somebody, but he's not. He's like somewhere in between where he's doing a lot of petty, but he's enough to you know, to stir a problem where they can, you know, go after certain people. So if me and him got into a fight, they wouldn't arrest him because he's helping their court system bring in people. He's almost like a recruit. Like you have a college recruit, you recruit them. You go to high schools and you recruit who you look at. You look at who you want to recruit. Same way for these business jail systems. They have their recruiters, and you know, I call them, you know, what's the word? Um, Agents of chaos. They're agents of chaos. They're recruiters for the prison system. So I want to, in particular, I want to talk about this issue. Um, whereas in Massachusetts, I was staying for a little while, um, but there was this one individual who was, you know, chasing down another individual. And the person that he was chasing ended up fleeing, getting away, and ran into the local 7-Eleven. And I'm looking at this like, man, and the person is like, I'm like, man, what's going on? Why is this guy like chasing this person, and this person running like, you know, I don't know, you know, really what's going on. So I'm on my bike, and I lock on my bike, and I'm going home. You know, I'm not trying to get involved with that. And as the guy, I'm still noticing what's going on. As the guy runs into the store, the other guy follows him. And my brother, you know, my younger brother, he was at the store, at the door at the store. So something happened where he left his attention on the one he was chasing and went after my brother. And my brother had to raise his hand like as to say, please don't shoot me, please don't kill me. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? So then I finished locking on my bike, and I'm looking at all this going on, and then all of a sudden, just as fast as it started, it was over. He ran into the store, I guess, to continue his assault on the first individual that he was assaulting. So I go inside. I go to my brother, not inside, outside the store, and I'm like, what's going on? Why was that guy harassing you? He was like, I don't know him. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. So I'm like, what? So I look into the store, and there's a lot of chaos going on. Him and the person he was chasing, and the other guy was like, yo, leave him alone. I don't know what's going on. And he's asking for help. So I go into the store, and at the time because I was selling some items that, you know, like perfumes and different things I was selling on the street, you know, make some extra cash. And so I had my hands full when I was carrying it. You know, I was bike riding. I had like a basket, and I had the thing settled, like all my stuff on the bike, like wrapped up. And then when I locked up my bike, I just had, I took this stuff with me, so my hands were full. I was carrying this stuff, so my hands were full. So when I walked into the store, the guy turned at me like, "Oh, you trying to help? You think you're a hero?" He didn't say that, but he turned at me like that with a clenched fist, and he turned really because I walked in the store. I kind of was approaching him, but he turned into me like, "Oh, you want to get some of this?" And then I didn't really have no way to protect myself because I was holding the item. So I pretended like I didn't see what was going on. Like I was just minding my business, and I just walked past. Even though I seen that he had his fist clutched, and he turned into me, like we were face to face. But I ignored the whole thing. Like I'm just going here to buy something. I'm not, blah blah blah. But really, I was peeping why this guy just assaulted my brother. I was trying to figure out what was up with this guy. So I go in there, and then I go through the aisles like I'm trying to buy something. And then this guy, he's like, "Yo, somebody do something, call the police or whatever." This dude, and we thinking that it's like they're two gay guys and they're just fighting. Well, this is what I'm thinking. I don't know what anyone else is thinking. I'm sure they're thinking the same thing. They got into some kind of fight, argument. That's why he chased him and blah blah blah. Some kind of, because one of the guys he was in drag. At first I thought it was a girl, but then I could see it was a guy. And then, so they're fighting, not fighting, but he's like, "Yo, get away from me, blah blah blah. I don't know this person." So the minute he said that, it was clear that this wasn't some kind of domestic violence going on between gays. So there was a white guy who jumped in, and they got fight. They were about to get into a fight. They were like, "Yo," he was like, "Leave him alone. What's going on? Why you bothering this guy?" They were about to get in a fight. They were face to face. He was like, "You want to mind your business? You like gays or something?" Blah blah blah. So you could see it was a hate crime. It was a hate crime or something, because he would start talking about gays and stuff. But at this point, I just left. I left the store. I'm like, "Yo, this is crazy." So I just got out there and left. So I was talking to my brother. I want to make sure my brother's handicapped, by the way. My little brother, he's handicapped. He really wasn't able to protect himself. And he's like he has a mental handicap. So he goes out there and he begs for money, even though the government pays him money because he can't work. The government pays him money, so he's just really, so I can't really convince him to leave. This is not a good state that the guy just harassed you. You should leave, blah blah blah. And I've done that before, so I wasn't trying to do that. So I was like, let me just wait around to make sure he's all right, you know. So I'm on the steps and I have my stuff and I put it down because my hands were full, but now my hands are, free, and the stuff is on the steps. And I just want to wait around, make sure everything is fine and there's no more issue. So anyway, the white guy comes out of the store, the guy who was initially fighting, now in his face, trying to protect the other guy. I don't know what happened to the other guy, the gay guy. He must have ran out in the confusion because he was gone. So he must have ran out. So now the attention was on the white guy. So when the white guy came out of the store to go to his car, the black guy who initially, chased the other guy in the store, he chased he followed the white guy to his car, and then he crossed him where he wouldn't get into, he like blocked his door, so he can't get into this door. He was like, "No, we're gonna fight now." I don't know what he was saying, but he was blocking his door for him to get in. So what happened was he got around the passenger side, unlocked the door, and climbed in, and then drove away. And then the guy was banging on his window, like, "Look, what's up?" I don't know what he was saying, but he was banging on his window, and I'm like, what the hell? So I'm thinking everything is cool, everything is over with, whatever. The originally person he chased got away, do all the arguing or whatever. He got away. The white guy just got away, so I'm thinking everything's gone, everything's cool. So this guy comes back, like he's in the parking lot, and as the guy pulls away, he leaves. The white guy leaves, drives away So he comes back to my brother. I'm like, what? So he doesn't know that I'm with him. I'm sitting on the other side and my brother's on that side. So he don't know we're brothers. So he comes in his face. He's like, you know, my brother's like, so I'm like, you know, I want my brother to handle himself, even though he's crippled. But if he starts losing the fight, then I'm gonna jump in. So I really didn't. I kept quiet. I was acting like I wasn't even. I didn't even know that dude. That he was my brother, or I didn't know him. We wasn't together. So I wasn't like. He didn't see that we was talking earlier because he was in the store assaulting somebody else. So he was going at my brother. So my brother, surprisingly, I thought I would encourage him because I was there. There was two of us. Even though the other guy didn't know, but I thought that he would be a little bit encouraged, but he wasn't. Because he's not really mentally right. So he runs behind me, and then he said, "That's my brother. This is my brother." So he kind of sets me up, and I was like, "What? Why would you do that?" So he coming to me. I was like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, you're his brother." So he starts clenching his fist, coming at me like we about to fight. And I didn't say one word to this dude. Like I never said I don't know who this dude is. I never said anything to him. And he's coming at me like with a clenched fist. And I just stand my ground. I just look at him. Just look at him with a mean look like, no, you don't want none of this. So I think he took the picture and he walked away. And somehow, I don't know what it was, some demon got in his head. It was like he's bluffing. He's trying to act. He's going to act tough. He came back. He came back to see if I was bluffing. But really, I felt like my back was against the wall. I had my product. I can't pick up my product. And if I pick up my product and leave and my brother's right there, I'm not gonna run in front of my brother. So I'm like, I'm gonna stand my ground. Yeah. So he come back with a clenched fist, like he wanna fight me. And then as he steps in, he stepped away the first time, and as he stepped in the second time, he got closer, and he raised his fist. That's when I came at the other angle. I slid sideways as he stepped in, and I grabbed him up. Then, I choked him out. Eventually, I choked him out. I grabbed him, and because I was taking a martial arts class, but I wasn't really. I'm new at it, so I didn't do the choke right. And so, a real choke lasts 6 seconds, and you're supposed to choke a person out if you do it right. Mine, it was like 5 minutes. So we were struggling for 5 minutes, and I was tired and everything. Well, anyway, after I put on choked him out, I see he wasn't struggling no more. I laid him down. I wasn't trying to kill the dude. I just wanted to be safe. My brother to be safe. So I picked up my items and I left. But as this was going on, this guy, one guy, he was recording it. So he recorded the fight, and then he posted it on Facebook. So with Facebook, when they see stuff like that, the first thing they do, they send to the police. So a month later, after that, I left. I went home. I forgot all about that. I didn't forget it because the next day when I was talking to this guy, he said, "Yo, I heard about what happened at the store." We were laughing. We were like, "Yeah, this dude, man." And then as we was talking, the dude just stopped. He like, look, he's like, "Yo, he's coming." And he just started walking away fast because I don't know this dude. I don't know he's a gang member. I don't know nothing about this dude that I choked up. All I know is this guy just started left. Like he knows this dude and he wasn't trying to get shot or something. So I'm on the bike and I'm like, "Yo, this dude's coming towards me." So I get on my bike and I go across the street with the bike because I don't know if he's gonna pull out a gun. So apparently he was there waiting for me the whole day from the morning to see if I was gonna come back to the store. He was just waiting to get revenge. So as I was rolling my bike across the street, the bike, he looked at me and he pulled up his shirt. He started going into his shirt like he had a gun or something. And I just like booked it down the hill. Then I called my friend. I was like, "Yo, this dude, man, I spared him. I can't believe it, man. I could have really hurt that dude. You know, I didn't hurt him. I didn't hit him. I just knocked him out just so I could be safe." And this dude, I'm like, man, I was feeling like I was being, I was being good to this dude. I didn't really hurt him. All I did was put him to sleep, and I could have hurt him. You know, and I was being nice to him. And this dude's gonna come back and try to shoot me. I was like, man, when you get in these situations, if you don't kill them, they're gonna come back and try to kill it. See, it goes back. There's no win-win situation. Either you get killed, see the government, they put out these people on parole and they know should be out on the streets. I mean, they're wilding. They put these people and they who they are. I mean, they're agents of chaos. They're the callers to the jail cells. Man, they're the recruiters of the jail cells. You know, so a month later, I have this 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 guy, this agent comes up the one way street, comes up a one way street like somebody just robbed a bank. An agent comes up the one way street like somebody just robbed a bank, and comes at me. Oh, there was a situation, blah blah blah, and the way he approached me was total disrespect. I'm not. See, the thing is, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has to understand, I'm not your slave. You can't come at me like that. You can't come at me and treat me any kind of way. So I told the dude, now I'm not going to talk to you. Not because I don't think that I should be talking to him. And later on, I found out you're not supposed to talk. It's not wise to talk to those agents because they use whatever you say against you. But I didn't know that. I would just tell him the truth. But it was the way he came at me, like he was calling me out my name and this disrespect, this total disrespect. So I'm like, no, no. And he was like, hey, buddy. I'm like, what, buddy? Yo, I'm not your friend. I mean, you have to come at me with a certain type of respect. And he's like, yo, there was a crime that happened, blah blah blah, and we have everything on video, blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, okay, you have everything on video, so what do you want to talk to me for? We're at 7-Eleven. There's 6 professional cameras strategically positioned in every position for the parking lot. So everything that happened when he was chasing the guy, into the parking lot, into the store, everything that happened was what? It was recorded. Everything that happened was recorded. Inside the store, um, to the assaults, to when I choking out, it clearly shows that it's self-defense. But you have to think this is a business, a racist. This is a racist business where they look for black men to lock them up. They look for black men. And they use these agents of chaos. This guy, he was an agent of chaos. He's a recruiter. He helps the courts. He's a recruiter. They need them out there. That's a payday. That's how they get paid. So he helps the courts. So this agent was like, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the criminal and I'm going to tell him to testify against you. I'm going to tell him to press charges against you. That was like, because he felt some kind of way because I didn't want to talk to him. There was no need to talk to him. He has the video. It shows everything. Why I have to talk to him? Why I have to say one word? You see the video. If there's a bank robbery, and a guy stops the bank robber, he's a good Samaritan. He's considered a good Samaritan. Stops the bank robber. And the same thing here. If I stop a guy who was assaulting multiple people, it wasn't just me that he was assaulting. It wasn't just my brother he was assaulting. He assaulted the original person that he chased into the store. And then he assaulted the white guy who was trying to protect that person. That's 4 people right there. 4 people. Right? So that what does that make me? That makes me a hero. Why? Because my only reason of going to the store was to help. That was my only reason. And his only reason of going to the store was either to commit terror, to kill somebody, or to physically harm somebody. That was his only reason of being there. And my only reason of being there was the opposite. Was to first ask what was going on. I didn't jump to no conclusion. I never attacked any person. I was calm, cool, collected, and they don't like to see black men like that. They don't like to see black men stopping their crimes because they benefit on black crimes. They benefit on that. They get paid on that. So it's like me stepping in, stopping somebody from getting killed, somebody getting stabbed, someone getting hurt. So what? I deprived the Commonwealth of Massachusetts of a murder charge for somebody, of attempted murder charge, because of what I did. And this upsets a lot of people. This upsets a lot of people. You know, I'm stopping their money. So so the agent said I'm gonna get a summons in the mail. So I was checking the mail. I never got a summons. Never got a summons. So what happened was the police came to my house at gunpoint. Police came to my house at gunpoint in the middle of the night without a court order, a court warrant, right? And they could have shot me right then because the lights were off. I had like something in my hand when they had it that could have been conceived as a weapon. They could have shot me easily. They could have shot me. So it was an illegal arrest. I never got summoned to court. Right? Why? So let's say why it had to be an illegal arrest? Because I'm not a criminal. I don't have no criminal record. I've never been arrested. Right? So they use agents of chaos, criminals, to arrest people, and this is not the first time. They use people who are black men who have never have any record, who never had done anything, and they use them to incarcerate. So you would think, okay, you can fight that, but the charges that what the charges that they got me on. At first, let's talk about how they illegally arrested me. So I never got my right. Okay, so first of all, they didn't give me the right to get a summons to the summons of court, so I can explain everything that happened. Right? So I got arrested for that. They denied my rights as a human, as a citizen. They get a summons. They deny my rights to have a court order to enter my house without permission. They deny my rights. They never read me my rights when they arrested me. My rights was never read to me. That's three, right? They gave me a public defender when I was in jail. So when they arrested me, I was in jail. I noticed all the public defenders for the different people in my cell that came to the cell, and they had pen, paper, and they were writing down. They were explaining everything. When mine came, he came with no pen, no paper. He asked me no questions about what happened. So he was like, come on, we're going to go out and talk to them. So I followed him out. And first of all, I never asked for a public defender. I never asked for a public defender. They just gave me one. But I'm trying to get out of jail, so I'm not going to argue. I'm in jail, and this guy is saying, come on, we're going to get out, blah, blah, blah. So I'm trying to get out of there. I was in jail for like 6 hours. So, I'm not trying to stay there. So I'm not going to argue that he's there. I never asked for one. So the first thing they did, and they think they slick, is they barred me from going to the store. That was one of my conditions to get out. That I can't go back to that store. And and everything is strategic. Nothing is done by accident. They do this, and I'm gonna explain why they do this. So, the public defender, he gets me out. He's like, we're gonna get the tapes and everything. Don't worry about it. We're gonna go through it. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay, that's fine. If we could do that, then that's fine. All right. So, 2 or 3 days later, I called him, the public defender. I'm like, yo, um, let's go get the tapes. Blah blah blah. When we can have a meeting. He said, okay, yeah, yeah. I think the first court date was like 3 months later. He was like being lexical. He was like, I'm a little busy right now, but we're gonna do it. Blah blah blah. Every day, 3 days, I would call him. He was putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. Every 3 days, I would call him. I didn't want to call him every day because then I wasn't trying to have him block me, you know. So I would call him like every 3 days. Um, then he got to a point where he said, the police saw you throw him down on the ground. If we get the tapes, then it's gonna prove that you're guilty. So basically, the same courts that let the same judge, or the same judge system that let this guy who was on parole, who assaulted me and my family, right, who assaulted other people, the one who's responsible for releasing him, is the same one that gave me this public defender. It's the same system that gave me this public defender, who's now taking the side of the prosecution, because the prosecution believes I'm guilty, and he's taking the side that I'm guilty by saying that if you get the tapes, it's gonna prove that you're guilty. That means, what does that mean? That means you think I'm guilty, right? You think I'm guilty. So I was like, man, this is a scam. The whole thing is a scam. The whole thing is a scam. So, yeah, so I'm talking to this guy, man. He's really upset at me. And then we were supposed to meet. He wasn't showing up for me. It was always an excuse. So I was like, okay, so if you don't want to get the tapes, see, this is the reason why they banned me from going to the 7-Eleven, so I can't get the footage. And they know the footage only lasts 3 months. The footage only lasts 3 months. And they gave me a public, so I go to the court and I said, I want to change my public defender. He's not helping me. And it was like, oh no, you have to wait until the court date, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, bro, that's 3 months. The court date is not until 3 months. And the footage only lasts 3 months. So I said, can I use my camera? I was going to have somebody go into the 7-Eleven for me, copy the footage on my camera, so I can have the footage, or at least saved on my camera. And it was like, no, you can't use the phone. They was like, no, you can't use your personal phone as evidence on the video. You can't use your personal phone. But the person who recorded the whole incident on the Facebook used his personal phone, and that's the footage that the prosecution is trying to use. So they using. So right now, the case is not fair. It's supposed to be a fair case, right? You have a judge, you have two sides, and it's supposed to be fair. I can't use my personal phone, but the other side can use their personal phone. Personal amateur footage. That he doesn't show the whole thing. He only shows the part where the physical. He comes in, the tape starts, the Facebook post starts when the physical altercation already has started. So you don't know why two people are fighting. All you see is two people fighting. The guy on the back laughing, screaming, calling World Star and this and that, right? And that's all you're seeing. So they premeditated, man. They've been locking up black men for years. They are professional at this. They know that. I mean, first of all, that store is run by foreign Muslims, and I was always going there, and I was like, man, there's always something because it's a high crime area right there. That store is high crime. What happened that day? The person tells me that stuff happens every day, every day. That event that happened happens every day. Not the same one, but different stuff like that happens every day at that store. It's a high, but there's no police ever there. There's never any police there. It's as if the police are saying, "You're making a ton of money," and they do make a ton of money. That store is always packed. They're making a ton of money, right? So because you're making a ton of money, we're not going to be your private security guards. That's the attitude, from what I see. Because I've never seen no police there, and there's always drama there. That's why when I go there, I go in quick and I leave quick, because there's always something going on in that store. But I never see no police, hardly ever. If you see a cop there, they're there real quick and they leave, because they don't want to be involved. They're like, their attitudes towards them, it's like, we're not going to be your public, your private security. We're not, and you're making all this money. But the people who are at the desk, they're not the ones that they're the ones that get the, you know, they're the ones that sees all the crime. They're the one that have their, you know, they're not the ones that making the money. It's the owner who don't even live there. He's not even in his country. He's back in his country or some other country, and he's collecting the money. And he has like 4 or 5 stores, 4 or 5 7-Elevens. So it's like they're not even helping the right ones. They're not even they're discriminating against the wrong ones. The ones that are making the money, they don't give a damn if there's security or there's not security. They just want to get paid. And the ones that are there working the store, they're getting paid little money, hourly wages. And they're taking the brunt of all the crime that's happening. So the security is really for them. But that's not how the police look at it. The police look at it, oh, these guys, they're making a whole lot of money. We're not going to be their personal security guard. So when the incident happened, you know how long the police came? Well, I was there for at least 20 minutes since the person ran into the store and it was asking people to call the police, and I'm assuming that somebody called the police. Before the fight happened only at the end with me. He was doing other stuff with other people, and people was asking to call the police. And there was no police that came. And when I was fighting, I fought him. The prosecution sent me the tape of the video, and I looked at it. It was a 5-minute fight. For 5 minutes, the police didn't come, and for 20 minutes prior to that, the police didn't come. So the police are using me as an scapegoat, for one, for the judge for letting this dude out who was on parole. For two, some kind of thing they got with the store because they're foreigners that they don't like to go to that store, right? And now if the police came at a certain time, I wouldn't have never been in the fight. If they came at a right time, if they wasn't like, oh, we're gonna wait, we'll pick up the pieces, attitude, then I would have never have to defend my life and the life of my family. That would have never even came apart. So all these different things are not being, you know, mentioned in this crime. They're not even being thought of. Not being considered. You know, all the wrongs that's going on. There's on multiple level wrongs that are going on here, on multiple levels. So anyway, you know, I'm gonna be talking to I'm gonna make a video of me talking to the prosecution, see what their side is. What could possibly be their side, other than racism, other than, I mean, honestly, nobody cares that a criminal got embarrassed. That's all happened. That's the only thing that happened. He got choked out. Okay, it's not a good thing to get choked out. I understand that, but it was the best solution in that situation. It was the best solution. Anything else would have been more violent. Anything else would have been more violent. So, you know, you can let me know what you think. You know, um, yeah. So basically, I'm just asking. I'm gonna set up a. I have a GoFund, and you can see at the link, the bottom of the link. The GoFund is for, you know, to help me with a attorney, a paid attorney, that can go, through this. But before I go, I would like to show you what ways are they going to win this case. But um, I was talking to an attorney. He said if I go without a lawyer, that I won't win. He didn't say if you committed a crime that night, they're going to find out and you're not going to win the case. He said if I go without a lawyer. So my crime has nothing to do with what happened that night. My crime, right, is whether I have a lawyer or I don't have a lawyer. That's my crime. It has nothing to do with whatever happened on that day. My crime, and even the judge said that. He said, "Oh, do you want to get?" And it's offensive to me that they're asking me for a lawyer, and all you have to do is look at a 6-minute surveillance video. And when it shouldn't be no crime, it shouldn't be no case. You just look at the surveillance video, show that it's easy to see who's assaulting who from a surveillance video. Only an idiot can see. Normally, the person assaulting another person is the one who approaches the first person. The one who approaches that person normally is the one who's assaulting. If that's not enough, the one who raises his fist first to where the other person has to react. That's a clue that the person's assaulting others. Another one is body language. There's all kinds of ways. You don't need years and years in law school to decipher who's been assaulted and who's not being assaulted. You know, you just play the tape. You just play raw footage. Play the raw footage. Show the raw footage from the time I arrived, from the time he arrived, and keep it playing through the whole time. But of course they can't do that because then it shows that I'm innocent. Not only am I innocent, but I'm a hero. And they don't want to recognize a black man as a hero. They don't want to recognize a black man as a good Samaritan. Right? They want to look at all black people painted in one picture. Oh, they're all doing drugs. They're all doing this and that. You know, even though I'm not a criminal. I'm not a criminal because I say I'm not a criminal. I'm also not a criminal because my lack of criminal history testifies that I'm not a criminal. I've never been arrested. So how am I a criminal? I'm also not a criminal because the surveillance video testifies that I'm not a criminal. So the prosecution's way of incarcerating me would be, one, not to use the surveillance video, and if they do use it, they use it in pieces. They're not going to show the raw footage. They're going to show screenshots here and there, parts of it. They're going to make a DJ video of it. They're going to decipher it the way they want to decipher it. They're going to choose, right, with the permission of the judge. And the judge knows what's going down, because in the pretrial, the judge said, "Oh, you want to go to jail for free?" When I said, "Oh, I'm going to represent myself," he said, "Oh, so you want to go to jail for free?" No, I said, because they wanted $150 to to pay the lawyer from for uh, yeah, so that they could pay the public defender. He asked me, "Would you like the public defender for $150?" I was like, "Well, I could defend myself for free." He said, "Well, you can go to jail for free." So if I give you something for free, that means you don't deserve it. So if I give you a cake and I say, "Here's a cake for free," you didn't do anything to deserve that cake. So if I say I give you a jail for free, that means I'm just giving you jail. You didn't do anything to go to jail. But that's the justice. That's the head of justice I'm dealing with. He does he doesn't even see that what he just said was I can go to jail without doing anything wrong. That's what he just said that came out of his mouth. And then on another day, because they have see what they do is they want to make me look because I'm not a criminal. They have to set me up to look like a criminal. So when I went to, there's been 5 cases already, pre-trials. So when I show up to a pre-trial, they don't ask me any questions. They have never asked me what happened. Because they never asked me what happened, it's only logical to assume they don't care what happened. What do they care about? They care of profiting off of black on black violence. That's all they care about. They don't care about what happened. Why don't they care about what? Why don't they care about what happened? Because they already know what happened. Why do they know? Why do they know about what happened? Because it has a surveillance video. Six professionally strategically placed cameras all throughout the 7-Eleven that shows every angle of every place in that store. So they already know what happened. So they don't need to ask me what happened because my whole purpose of being here is not to know what happened. So they don't need to ask me what happened. So I come to the court, and they're like, he's here. Next court date. I come to the court the next time, or 2 months later, or 3 months later, when they ever put the new. It's like, he's here. Date. Next court date. That's all they do. They never ask me any questions. So I had to wait around all day, waste my time the whole day, and they just set up another court date. And the court date is a pretrial. So there's already been 5 pretrials, and there's another pretrial that's set up. And this has been happening for 2 years. For 2 years. So the courts right now are harassing me for 2 years. And anytime if I was to miss one day of those trials, then there's a arrest warrant out for me. And these charges they have me, they're not no little charges. We're talking murder charge, murder, even though nobody died. The only thing that happened was somebody got embarrassed. So is the charges actually say murder charge? No, it's not murder charge. Because they're slick. They're not going to say murder charge and nobody died. They're going to give you multiple charges that add up to a murder charge. That's something compatible to a murder charge. They're going to give you multiple charges. Okay, one of the charges they gave me was strangulation, which is in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, is 5 years, a 5-year charge. The second charge they gave me was the second charge was severe body injury. Even though, and the severe body injury charge is 15 years. So no, it's 10 years. It's 10 years in Massachusetts. So right now we're talking 15 years. 15 years. That's a manslaughter charge. That's like a manslaughter charge without saying it. So they get a free manslaughter charge against a black person who's never been in trouble, right? They get a free manslaughter charge against a black male who's never been in trouble, right? Sorry. I keep losing my thought, but like I was saying, it's a manslaughter charge they're giving me, or a murder charge, something comparable to a murder charge. And the only thing that happened, so the court has to, answer to they have to answer this question: how can it be a murder charge, or how can it be a severe body injury charge? Right? I never struck the person. I never punched the person. I never stabbed the person. I never shot the person. I never used an object against the person. All I did was um, choke them out, so I wouldn't have to do none of those other things. So I wouldn't have to do any of those other things. That was the whole purpose of it. All I wanted to do was save my life and the life of my family. But because I'm black, they don't look at it like that. I mean, America is a very racist place, and just because they give certain genders jobs, and not trying to, but this is how they separate it, and they do. There's books on how you break down the family life of the black community. You separate the races. So you give you give a job to one of the races, the female. You give a job to the female. You let the male not have a job, but you prevent it. You make it rough for him to have a job, right? You separate the races. So when you're talking about races, you're like, oh no, we've improved. No, you haven't improved. All you did was made a wedge between the races. You made a wedge between family life with the black. But anyway, without getting into all of that, so yeah, I have a GoFundMe page that if you can contribute to get a paid lawyer, or I'll leave a link to my Cash App. I'll leave a link to my Cash App. Um, Anything else? I just want to make sure I didn't leave out anything. Um, yeah, so the courts, they're playing games. Another thing the judge said to me that I knew that he was part of it, that he knows, and he knows this is a bullshit case, and they just want to give a free black man a murder charge. Cause it's hard, oh, we got a nigga for free. You know, you got two black men fighting, right? So you got two black men fighting, and one, so you have a 50-50 chance of getting it right, right? 50-50 chance of getting it right. You have one black man with a criminal record, criminal history, right? You have another one with no criminal no criminal history, no criminal record. So a Commonwealth of Massachusetts is going to use abate, what is it, to abate and what's the word?